And welcome back to Retired Happy. This is your Retired Happy friend Carolyn from Mississippi. And I want to welcome you back to my channel. If this is the first time you've been here, we talk about all things retired, things that give us happiness, joy, things that make us feel fulfilled and give us a purpose in life and something to look forward to. So whether that's playing bridge, cooking, crafts, whatever your passion is, we'll talk about it and encourage you to do things that make you feel have a purpose in life and feel like you still have a lot of life left to live. So today we're going to be making the strawberry cobbler. We had our potluck dinner at church today after our service, so we all bring something, and today I took the strawberry cobbler. So it's the lazy man cobbler, as my grandmother called it, and I'm going to show you how I make it step by step, and I'll show you the empty dish I brought home afterwards. Everybody loved it. So another thing we're going to do today is make the little puff pumpkin, and the little puff pumpkin is so cute and so easy and quick. So I'm going to show you step by step how to do that. This is my little puff pumpkin. After I got it made, I put it on my kitchen table with my pumpkins. Kroger is already getting the little ornamental pumpkins in, so this is what we'll be making today, and it's so quick and easy you'll want to make lots of them. Also, while we're talking about church, I want to share with you my good word for today, and the events of this past week with the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and he was a martyr, killed for his faith and for his stand on his faith. And he said the one thing that he wanted to be remembered for was for his faith. So our pastor's message today is about the anchor. And what is our anchor in life? What are we holding on to that gives us security and peace? Are we holding on to money or investments or family relationships, or are we holding on to our faith in Jesus, our faith in God, all the promises that God has given us that we can hold on to and we can claim? So that is something I think a lot of people have been rethinking a lot of things this week, and it's really given us a time to pause and evaluate our values, our attitudes, our feelings about how we treat people who have different opinions than we do, which is okay. And one thing I wanted to share with you, and this is just a thought for today, but you get 10 people in a room and you're going to have 10 different opinions and views on how something should be done. So we're all unique. That's the way God made us. And we're supposed to work together and share and come to a common agreement with each other, not hold grudges and not just be mad at everybody. But that also brings us back to the Lord's Prayer on forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. So I think a lot of us have done a lot of thinking, a lot of introspective evaluation on how we feel and how we react to those who disagree with us in our little circle of the world. So another thing I wanted to share with you is one of my projects. This is the little comfy babies that I had showed you that I make. This is a packet I have already made up that's getting ready to go to our blessing box at church. And I had showed you how I made the little doll earlier, but this is how I pack it when I'm getting it ready to go. So these are the little dolls, and I get the little dolls at Dollar Tree. And they used to be $1, but now I think everything's gone up to $1.25. But I crochet a very simple little skirt, and it's around a ponytail holder that I also got at Dollar Tree. And then crochet a little cap and a scarf. Each one of them are different. I never make two alike, but I just use some of my scrap yarn, put it together, make a cute little outfit. Some of them I make girls, some of them I make boys. And if I make a boy while I'm crocheting, I join it right there in the middle as I'm going around the last row and make pants instead of a skirt. But this is on a ponytail holder so it can come off. So in the bag with the baby doll, I got some little baby bottles, and I got these at Hobby Lobby. They were back in the bridal shower, no, the baby shower section for little trinkets, little things that you give at the baby shower. So I put the baby bottle in there. And then for the children, I put in a little track. And it says, "Most of all, Jesus loves you." And it goes through everybody who loves you. It's really a cute track. Always remember, Mommy and Daddy love you, your brothers and sisters love you, your aunts and uncles, your friends, and most of all, Jesus loves you. So that's the little track for the children. So for the adult, I put in a New Testament, and I put it on the back of the package so you can see the New Testament, and then on the front you see the baby doll. And I get these at christianbooks.com. Now the last time I ordered them, I was able to get this paperback New Testament for $1.25. So I don't know whether they're still that price or whether they've gone up. But that goes in the Bible. I put a bookmark with the Bible verse, and I get those on christianbooks.com, and they're, last time I ordered, were $1.25 for a pack of 12. So that goes in the pack, and I also recently have started just putting, this is a granola bar that I put in there, some kind of treat for the children or for the adult who's getting it. So I have given them to the police department. We used to donate them to Catholic Charities, and they passed them out. Oh, we had about 3,000 that we passed out. They distributed them to people who were victims of a hurricane or a tornado, or they even sent some overseas to other countries. So this spreads God's word for the adult and for the children who are in distress or who might need something happy. So that I have ready. The other thing I've been working on this week is making some fall quilted hearts. So fall is here, well, almost. I think we still have 5 days until actual fall. But I've been making the fall quilted hearts, and these are all on my Etsy shop now. So these have been really fun to work up. And this is the front and back cover. And I've shared with you before my tutorial or my channel, my video where I showed how to make the quilted hearts. And the quilted hearts are 2 pieces of fabric with the batting in between, and then you draw off the heart, stitch around it, and then I embellish it with either lace or a ribbon. I always put the Bible verse, John 3:16, "For God so loved the world that he sent his only son." So that's another thing I always put on it. So that's what I've been working on this week. It's been fun. It's been a really good week, a very productive week. And I hope you've had a good week. Let me know in the comments what your week has been like, and let me know some things that you would like to do. So this is Sunday afternoon. You'll see this on Monday, tomorrow. And then Thursday, I'll be cooking. I'll be making the hamburger steak meal, and to go with that, I have the mashed potatoes, the broccoli, and I'm not sure what else I'll put with it right now. I might need some bread, so we might have a bread making session. But I also, before I go and let you go so we can get started cooking, I'm going to show you my sweater that I showed you in the Costco style show. And I kept this one. I wore it to church this morning, and got got lots of compliments on it. Let me see if I can move you down. Okay, so this is the sweater that I decided to keep, and Costco also had it in a taupe, and I did exchange the large that I showed you in the style show. This is the medium, and I didn't notice, but it has this decorative stitching on the side that I really like. So that's just another really cute feature. But this is the block sweater that I showed you in the fall, Get Dressed With Me on a Budget. So I like it. So anyway, we'll get on to the cooking and make the strawberry cobbler and make the little cute puffed pumpkin. Today is potluck lunch at our church, so I'm going to take the strawberry Lazy Man cobbler. So to start, I'm going to take 1 stick of butter, 1/2 cup, put it in my baking dish, put it in the oven, and let the butter melt. While the butter's melting, I'm going to mix 1 cup sugar, 1 cup self-rising flour, and 1 cup milk. And I'll mix the flour and the sugar together first so they can mix well and the flour won't clump up. So that's well mixed. I'm going to add the 1 cup milk and stir that to make our batter. Butter has melted in a 350-degree oven, and I'm going to pour the batter all over the top of the butter. We don't mix it, we just pour the batter over. Just kind of pour it around all over. And I had my oven preheated to 350 when I put the butter in to melt, and the cobbler, when I get it put together, is going to bake at 350. Now I'm going to add the strawberries. These are raw strawberries. They were in my freezer from earlier this spring. And I like to add a lot of juice because I like my cobbler with some juice on the bottom, not just a lot of cake. So I'm not sure if I'm going to use both packages of these berries or just one, because I do like a lot of berries in my cobbler. So I think I want a little more berries in than that. Now again, we don't mix it, but I'm moving the strawberries around, just arranging them around in the batter. And I am going to go ahead and add some more berries to that with the juice. These are unsweetened strawberries, and this is just the juice that has come from the berries while they've been in the freezer. And these are some of my really good Louisiana strawberries that I put in the freezer back in the spring. So these are from March this year. And my Louisiana strawberries are really good. I did go ahead and put 2 of these packages. I would say that's probably a pint. I'm going to move those around a little bit, just so they'll be evenly spaced. Now the whole cobbler is going back into the oven at 350 degrees, and it usually bakes for 45 minutes, 30 to 45 minutes. So I'll let you know at the end how long it has baked, but this is going to be really good. Now the cobbler is done. I'm going to take it out of the oven, and it has baked for 35 minutes. So there it is. It's still kind of bubbling and sizzling around the edge. Now I'm going to let it cool for maybe about 5 minutes. I'm going to cover it with aluminum foil, wrap it in a towel, and take it to church for our potluck dinner. Isn't that look good? And oh, it smells so good. I can smell the strawberries. Well, this is what I got to bring home from the church potluck dinner. So everybody loved the cobbler. And I don't have a lot of leftovers. So it is a hot day in Mississippi, but it's the middle of September. So we're making puffed pumpkins today. And making pumpkins will help us think cooler. A little psychological play there. But I'm going to show you exactly what you need, and I'm going to show you step by step on how to make these cute little puffed pumpkins. So these are the supplies we're going to need for the pumpkin. I have this solid color orange, which I thought was a good pumpkin color. I also last year made some plaid pumpkins. This is what I made the mug rugs out of. So whatever fabric you decide you want for your pumpkins, if you decide with the plaid, if you have an old plaid shirt, or if you have a shirt that belonged to a family member that you want to remember them, you can make your pumpkins plaid. We're going to need some felt, just a little bit. You'll need a circle to hot glue over the bottom of your pumpkin where we gather it and draw it together. This is the yarn. It's a lightweight yarn I already had in my stash. I'll use that at the end after my pumpkin is together to put around it to make the ridges in the pumpkin. Now these are some stems that I bought last year, and I bought them, I forgot where I got them, but I found online somewhere. But if you don't have any stems, this is just a little pine limb that I got out of my flower bed with my pine straw. You can use a little piece of cinnamon. You can also take a little bit of the felt, roll it up into a little stem and use that for the stem. This is just some jute that I had already. I'm going to tie that around the stem when I get it put together. This is quilting thread. We need some kind of heavy-duty thread to draw up the fabric on the top and the bottom. So either embroidery floss, carpet thread, quilting thread, something heavier than just your dual duty sewing thread. We need our hot glue gun, scissors to cut with. These are my thread nippers, and of course the polyfill. So let's go to this ironing board, and I'm going to cut out my pumpkin. You will also need, if you have it, a measurer, an inch measurer, or you can use a yardstick or a tape measure, and a fabric pen if you have it. If you don't already have a fabric pen or a fabric marking pen, you can just use a ballpoint pen and mark it on the wrong side of your fabric and everything will be okay. I have my fabric ironed and pressed. That seam didn't, or that crease did not press out, but I don't think it's going to really matter in the end. But cut your fabric either 6 by 12, 7 by 14, 5 by 10. So you want it twice as long as it is wide. Now be sure you have your water and always stay hydrated in this hot heat. So end of summer, we have to keep up our hydration. So have my little pumpkin mug rug. So take your fabric now that you are going to use for your pumpkin and sew the two ends together. So fold it, and I'm on a straight stitch, and I'm going to just use a regular stitch, and I am going to back stitch this. Okay, now these little pumpkins would be so cute to just set around on your table to make an arrangement on your dining room table or coffee table, or however you want to use your little pumpkins. They would be adorable on your Thanksgiving table to put one in the center of everybody's plate and then attach a little tag to it with their name on it, and that would be a little favor that they can take home after Thanksgiving dinner that has their name on it. So all kinds of cute little things you can use these pumpkins for. Okay, now I just finger pressed that seam open. Now I'm going to get my my heavy duty thread and sew around the top and the bottom. Now this is my dual duty, and this is hand quilting thread. So if you have carpet thread or embroidery thread. This happens to be what I already had on hand, so that's what I'm going to use. So I threaded my big eye needle. It has a sharp point on the end, and I'm going to double my threads so I can have extra strength when I start gathering my fabric. So I'm going to tie a knot in the end, and now take the fabric, and I'm going to start on this side of the seam and leave the seam open. So go all the way around the fabric. This will be the bottom of the fabric. So just up and down and up and down and stitch all the way around. So I'm going to make my stitches fairly close together, so when I start drawing it up and gathering it, hopefully I won't have too big of gaps and pleats in my fabric. This will be the bottom of the pumpkin. Okay, I've made it all the way around. Now I'm going to cut the thread off of my needle and start gathering and pull the thread together so the bottom of the pumpkin will gather. And I'm going to go ahead and take my finger and push all of the fabric to this side, to the inside. So gather it and then take your thread and tie a real secure knot in your thread. So I'm just going to pull it snug, and I'm going to go ahead and tie another knot on it just to secure that end, because this is going to be the bottom of the pumpkin and I don't want it to come loose. So there we go. I think that's got it. I'm going to cut the excess thread off. Now turn your pumpkin, and this is going to stay on the inside. So there's the bottom of the pumpkin. Okay, now your little circle of felt is going to cover this end. Now I want my little pumpkin to be soft. I don't want it to be hard. So I have it stuffed and it's soft. So I've already rethreaded my needle with my quilting thread, and I'm going to start at the seam and go around the top of the pumpkin just like we did the bottom, and stitch all the way around it, and then we'll gather that. So the side seam on the pumpkin was the only thing I needed my sewing machine for. So if you have grandchildren or somebody who does not have a sewing machine, you see you can make this little pumpkin and just hand stitch that one seam. So these are fun, they're cute, and they're quick. Okay, so I've made it all the way around the top of my pumpkin, and I caught my knot so it wouldn't slip through. So now I'm going to clip the thread and clip my needle off, and take these threads and pull them down really snug. And now I'm going to tie a knot in that thread and tie, this will be the top of my pumpkin. So we want a big enough hole in the top of it that whatever we're using for a stem can go down in that hole. So you can decide, if you have a big stick, you can even go out in your yard and cut a limb off of a bush and use that for the stem of your pumpkin. So there are all kinds of creative ways you can do that. So now I'm going to clip off my extra threads. Isn't that cute? It's already looking a lot like a pumpkin. So now I have the brown yarn, and this is just some that I happen to have on hand. If you don't have any brown yarn on hand, if you have some like some jute string, you can use that, as long as you have a big enough needle that you can put it through. And since this needle has a sharp point on it, I'm going to use this one. Okay, now I'm going to need probably about this long, and I'm just guessing. I'd rather have too much than not enough, because we're going to go around the pumpkin now, and I'm just going to start at the top and pull the yarn up. Now I'm going to leave the end, well, in fact, I'm going to go ahead and tie a knot in that yarn. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and tie a knot in that yarn. Okay, now hold your pumpkin together, and we're going to go in the bottom and out through the top. And we're going to pull it down to make the gathers. And this is what's going to shape your pumpkin into a pumpkin shape. So now we'll go to the other side of the pumpkin and go in the bottom, right there through the bottom, through that opening, and then back out through the top. So if you decide you want this a little bit tighter, now is the time to go ahead and do it. So I'm going to pull that just a little tighter, and then pull my yarn up and pull it in. And now I'm going to the opposite side of the pumpkin and go in the bottom again and come out the top. So I basically want to crisscross my yarn. So I'll go from one side to the other side and then come out, go in the bottom and out the top. And it's really not hard to do at all. And the smaller your yarn is, the easier it will be. So I'm going to pull that down a little more snug and then pull that one in. Okay, now I have ribs there. I decided I want to go ahead and put a rib right there. So I'll go in the bottom and out through the top. And pull that one down. And I think I want one right across this one and across that one, and that will be enough. So I'm going to go across this big lump. So you can shape it however you want to shape it. So I'm going to go across this big lump right here, go in the bottom and out the top, and pull that down. And that didn't go quite where I want it, so I'm going to loosen that yarn and move it over just a little bit so my crease will be there. That looks much better. Okay, so I just loosened my yarn and moved it over a little more where I want it. And this last one I'm going to put across this big lump. So I'm going to go around it and go in the bottom and out through the top. Now I'm not having to really struggle or work to get my needle and yarn through everything. So This is working up really easy, really nice. And the bottom of it is closing up so well, I really don't think I'm going to put any felt across the bottom, because the bottom of it was where we need a little spot of felt. But I think this is going to close up well enough. I'm not going to put any felt on it. Let me see if I can get you over here. Can you see that? See, it's closing up really nicely. So now I'm ready to tie this off. So I had a lot of yarn left over, so I'm glad I cut it so long, because I'd much rather have leftover than run out. So now I'm going to go under one of those crosses, go under it with my needle and tie a knot, go under it again and tie another knot. Okay. Now to end my yarn, I'm going to go, let's see, where can I go? I'll go right through there, through the fabric, and then out the side. And then I'm going to cut my yarn snug with the side of the pumpkin. Then the yarn retracts and goes back into the side of the pumpkin. Okay, there we go. Isn't that just the cutest thing? That is so, so cute. Okay, now we have to decide what kind of stem we want. So let's see which one of these stems we want. This is a cute little stem. That's a little bitty one. This is a bigger one. Now this one came with these things on it, and I think that was just part of the mold. So when I made them last year, I took my wire cutters or my cutters and I cut that off. I left this as part of the little vine, but I did cut these side things off. So I can use this stem. I could go in with that and put that in there. That would look real natural and rustic. So you can decide what kind of stem you want on your pumpkin. And I really did not leave a very big hole in the top of my pumpkin to stick it in, so I really could have left a much bigger hole. So I'm going to go with this one, my plastic one, and I'm going to stick it right down in there. And I'm going to take my hot glue gun and secure that there. Isn't that just the cutest thing? I just love these little pumpkins. And I really think they are cute when you make them out of a plaid fabric. Now I have to get my hot glue gun, glue my stem in, then I'm going to come back with some of the jute. Now it would be really cute if you have like my red and white check ribbon. You could put that down. You could put some berries if you have any berries. And now this was a 6 by 12 pumpkin. So if you want your pumpkin bigger than that, you can make it 7 by 14 or 8 by 16. So it depends on how big you want your pumpkin. But I don't think I would want it any smaller than that. But let me know what you think and how you make your little pumpkins, and how many you make and how you use them, because I think they are just adorable. Now you can buy them. I have seen them already at Dollar Tree and several other places, the little fabric pumpkins. But this is a crafty way that you can make them yourself out of the color that you want. If you want it plaid, or if you want it polka dot or flowered, you get to choose the color. You get to use up some of your fabric scraps that you already have at home in your stash. So, you know, if you're like me, I just enjoy making it myself, and it gives me something to do and a purpose and a project. So let me know what you think, and I hope you enjoy this and have a happy fall. It's time for our afternoon walk. So Maisie and I came to the church. We're going to put our little bag in the blessing box. And this is our blessing box. So this is on the side of our church. And we have a green over beside our church. So we're going to just take a little walk and walk around the parking lot. I think this is a safe place to walk. So we're going to walk. The sun's already getting ready to set. And so the sun's going down and it's starting to get dark. And Maisie has a new place to explore and walk. Okay, so here we go. Where you going, Maisie girl? Huh? Where are you going? What do you see, huh? This is where we had our blessing, the blessing of the pets. So I'm sure there are still lots of very interesting smells that she can sniff right here. But our pastor stood right there and prayed and blessed all of our pets and all the pet owners. Well, it looks like she's wanting to go over to the playground. So we have a playground over here for the kiddos to play on. Let's go this way.